How's it going, everyone? Back on Skirt Hawk here, and I'm putting together a really fast video on how to throw the off body effectively. I'm going to show you 3 different methods that I use. One of them I don't use as much, but I see a lot of Super Dukes. My friend Sir Cyrus does this a lot, and he's amazing with the off body, so I'm going to go ahead and share that with you. The first key is don't lean. When you're trying to do it, don't try to do this stuff. That just X that completely out of your thought process. What you're going to want to do, and this is the first one that I see Sir Fabian do. He used to do this all the time back in the day, and Sir Cyrus does it right now a lot. But if you ever notice people that they fire and they kind of return, they're basically just drawing a circle in the air with the tip of their sword, and that's kind of their return. So they'll fire and they'll kind of do that. So the key is to get somebody, when you're crossing the line of measure, to plant on this motion, and when they plant, they'll generally turn and slightly rotate you like this, and that exposes the off body just a bit more. So what you do when you see that is you start to fire your snap, they plant, they rotate, you turn your hand in just like this, and then you just reverse hips. So that's exactly how you do it. So it'll be kind of a draw the sword circle up in the air as soon as you see them start to react, and then just drop it down. And you're dropping it down with your hip movement just like that. So one more time. And generally you'll see, I see Sir Cyrus doing this all the time. If he's not firing a blow, he's kind of doing this just to see what you're going to do off that movement. And if you do turn, rotate, and expose your armpit, well, he just turns his hand inwards and just drops it in. It goes from a snap to an inward to a right in your armpit, and it happens just like instantly. So that's the first way I wanted to show you. Now the second way, let me grab my shield as well. But it has to do with elbow positioning, all right? So a lot of people, when you open with a snap, your elbow is generally about here. It's almost like straight pointing at your opponent. Basically, it might be in a little bit because you're kind of firing past their head. But for the most part, if I want to throw an off body here from this position, I have to pull my sword back and my arm in before I can drop it over, and that's kind of a tell. So what you want to do is you want to just practice teaching your elbow the final position you need to be when you're firing that open shot. So instead of ending here, you end with your arm being crossed and over further. So just kind of like this, right at the end of your hip rotation. And what that's going to do is now I have no tell. Now all I have to do is reverse hips and drop it over. This is the one I use mostly as I fight. That one is exceptionally effective. Once I trained myself not to end here, but to end with my sword out like this, my arm fully extended over as far as I can go, there's no tell. There's no extra time required to just turn it over into your off body at all. So that's my favorite one that I use. Now, this is the one that I'm using a lot now because I'm training house a lot. And I'm going to make another video here in just a second explaining different guards and things. But the house, same exact concept. When I fire my sword out, I'm having it over further. So in house, if I fire, I just drop my hand over into house and I push my hand over. What's going to happen is, in most cases, and it's hilarious, right after your very first shot, they're trying to kind of snap race you, coming over here. So the second your sword gets there, you're just in house like this. And when you're in house, you're already ready. Oops, I have the wrong foot for it. You're already ready to just drop that into the off body, just from the house. So it's really fun. Fire your snap, go into house, they fire into your sword, drop it into the off body. Your elbow's already in the final position it needs to be. So, and that's key. So elbow position, always key. I know in the early days when I very first started, I was trying to do this, and then I was trying to really make up for my elbow just not being in the right place to begin with, to just drop it over with ease. I mean, it's just so much easier when you push the elbow over, to immediately drop it over. So hopefully that helps. I've seen a new guy recently, actually a couple people that wanted to learn how to throw the off body. So this is what this video is for, so you can practice that. Now I don't have my pail, it's at the Ren Fair site location right now, so I got my cat scratcher. But when I'm practicing the off body with my footwork, instead of stationary, which I kind of did in the camera. You have to learn how to either approach your opponent this way, or you have to learn how to approach your opponent like this. But the main key is you're going to want to get right here when you're setting up your off body. Just kind of, you can throw the shot, and what you're doing is you're practicing swinging this leg to here. So you'll be throwing your shot, and since I'm practicing house now, I'm doing this, and then practicing the off body. And I will also practice an exit, which is bringing my foot back to the position it was, and striking the head that way before I clear out. Generally in house, I'm practicing that a lot, house, house, house. And I've gotten a lot more off bodies that I've been practicing it that way, especially when I'm doing my snap, stepping across in house. And no matter what they do, if they fire a backhand, I catch. If they fire into my sword as I'm stepping across, they fire into my sword. That happens a lot, and then you just drop it over. Or they go for a wrap, and you can catch it in a tent, back around like that. But man, in most cases, they fire directly into your sword, trying to get your face as I'm stepping across. Right here. They think I'm weak, when in actuality I'm not. And they're throwing into my sword. And it's just a quick counter hip rotation. Boom! Shots right in there. Then generally just with a clear. But anyways, I hope this helped. Leave comments down in the comment section if you have any more questions on the off body. That is the way I throw it in most cases. I do have kind of a same setup, which is a belt grab style off body where it's up high and then it sweeps across low right on the belt. But mostly this is the one everyone wants to learn. Is the one where you're just kind of sliding across. You've got your opponent to buy you and face you this way with this shot. They've planted, they've rotated, they've faced you. They've exposed their armpit right there for when you step across. So that's the key. So hope this helps. Let me know if it did. Peace.